Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Fun with Hunts. I believe this is episode 16. What a big number these things are getting. Anyway, there's a few things that have been happening recently that I want to share. First of all, before we get into anything, today I will be sharing two games with you. The first one is the Yueyang that I played not too long ago. I felt like I want to share this replay because it is a ship that has a pretty crappy reputation recently. And what I mean is, this ship used to be a lot better. You will see me adjusting some audio settings so it's not too loud, by the way, at the beginning. This ship used to be a lot better, and then they kind of nerfed the torp reload and nerfed the gun reload, and everybody thought, oh my god, this thing is a total piece of crap. Never gonna play this thing again. And truly and honestly, you do not see a lot of these things recently. I mean, when I say recently, I mean for a while now. Truly, it is not as good as it used to be. The gun nerf is not that big of a problem, in my personal opinion. It's more that the torp reload kind of went downhill. If they nerfed just one of the two, I would, and I'm pretty sure everybody else would kind of be okay with that, because then you would have a really good gunboat that's questionable or situational torp boat, because slow torp reload and torps that can only hit, everything besides DDs, or in other words, but they can't hit destroyers. Or if you nerf the torp reload, then if you nerf the gun reload, then your powerful torps with okay reload that can hit DDs. But the torpedoes are still good, and the guns are, well, not top notch, but useful. Wargaming for some reason decided that the ship was overperforming so much that they decided to nerf both. So they kind of nerfed the gun reload and the torp reload, which put this thing kind of on a back footing. The sad news about recent, when I say recent, I mean in the past, I don't know how many months, nerfs of ships is whether we want to really accept this or not, whether we're, I don't know, how would I really put this? It basically comes down to, however you look at it, a power creep is slowly happening. Now, some of the old ships, this doesn't mean that, everything old is crap and everything new is awesome. No. But the level of power is slowly climbing up. And sometimes you don't even feel this, but it definitely is there. Gearing is still one of the best destroyers in my opinion, because it's just really good all around. Now with two choices of torpedoes, you can just, choose what you want to do. You can go for speed boost, you can go for defensive AA, whatever you feel like. Fortunately, with the current AA, your defensive AA is not really that useful, but hey. And even the full AA builds are not that great. It mostly comes down to flak. If you can, well, you can't really force the enemy into the flak, but basically if the enemy captain of a carrier is going to be bad, noob, or just potato, and potato his attack and just fly into the flak, which can happen to everyone, and it happens to me on a daily basis. I don't want to make this sound like, oh my god, other noobs around me. No, I do this every day when I play carriers. I don't play carriers every day, but when I do, I potato myself. You sometimes just randomly fly into the flag, sometimes you don't have an option. And you lose like half of the HP of your entire squadron, and if you fly again into the flag, you're dead. That's all it takes, like 2 flag clouds, your squad is dead. So, unless the enemy carrier captain is going to potato his attack and somehow fly into the flag, you're pretty much going to be soaking up a lot of damage from the attack. And the only question is, how much can you inflict the damage after his attack is done. Not to get too sidetracked though, I think Yueyang is still very good all around, but in the current meta, Daring is probably one of the best destroyers in the game right now, because its concealment is not terrible, it's not great, by all means it's not great, but it's not that bad. It's handleable. Its guns are very good. Its maneuverability and speed is solid. The sheer fact that British destroyers have the propulsion module incorporated in them, which is why you can't install it even if you wanted to, is really awesome. So they speed up like crazy. And I think a lot of people think that British smokescreens on destroyers are pretty bad. And I've been getting sometimes these questions like, why do they have such crappy smokescreens? This is, I don't know how would I say this, but this is basically, in my opinion, old man's thinking. When I say old man, I don't mean anyone with old age, just old meta. When it was a really heavy smokescreen meta where you were more valuable as a destroyer the longer your smokescreen would last and the bigger the deployment was. This is no longer the case. Quite the contrary, if you have a pretty modest smokescreen, it's better because you don't cover too much of the battlefield, you only cover yourself and you're not in the way of the others. So the others can actually continue to operate and you're not blocking the vision for them. Because smokescreen meta is kind of dead. There's too much radar, hydro, and planes to be really hiding. Successfully at least. I mean, battleships, if they shoot from smokescreen, they will most likely be detected anyway because their detection is like between 13 and 17, 18, 19 cam, even from smoke. Cruisers, well, you know, medium to close range, but most of the cruisers don't want to be in the smokescreen because the smokescreen is going to be deployed relatively close. And once the smokescreen is, you know, done, you find yourself just simply too close. So that's also a no-go. But Daring can deploy many smoke screens which are fairly short and which is not bad. I mean, it would be better if they were longer, but it's not actually bad because even if you're forced to smoke up just for 10 seconds, because let's say the carrier attack you, so you just decided to randomly in the middle of nowhere stop and smoke up. You realized that the carrier was going to detect you no matter what. And you decided, shit, I'm going to just stop. I'm going to smoke up. And I'm not going to take that initial rocket strike or dive bombers and lose like 5 to 10k. On average. It can be a lot worse than that. It's not a big deal. The carrier, if he decides to stay there, he's going to lose like 40 seconds or a minute when you combine deployment with activation time. He's going to lose a lot of time just flying around and waiting for you to leave just to do one strike. And when you leave, he needs to turn around, he needs to come, he needs to attack you. And by the time he turns around to make another deployment, you can stop and drop your smoke again. Which means he will be losing a lot of time to just be striking you. And in the meantime, you can ask for help. You can slowly start creeping your way towards the friendlies. You can soak up a couple of attacks. He's going to have to recall sooner or later, so you get another half a minute or a minute. Not to mention that we're now getting a full, almost a minute in the tier 10 games before the carrier can even launch the first strike and so on. So, with Superintendent and Premium, I think you get like 7 of these really fast smoke screens. So every time you deploy it, it's not a big deal. Like if you deployed it and it's not of big use, big deal. You got like 6 more to go. You don't even need Superintendent. I don't even use Superintendent. You got 5 more. Fine. Very often you either don't live long enough or the game doesn't last long enough for you to use all of them. And if you do use all of them and you're out, that means the game is at least mid to heavy late game and you've already done a pretty damn good job. And if you end up losing, then fuck it. It's not your fault. So it's really good. But the second ship that comes really fairly close to it is a Yueyang. Yueyang, when it was introduced, there was no British destroyers, and his smoke screens were faster, more of them, and shorter. This was like the, I don't know, first step to a daring, and it works really well. It doesn't work as well as daring, because daring can cycle a lot faster than Yueyang, but it is as close as it gets. For instance, gearing has this problem. You can carry 3 or 4 smoke screens. Once you deploy it, it's gonna stay there for like 2 minutes, and then you need another 30 seconds or whatever to get a new one. It's a huge time. And this is especially a problem if you start the game, you get detected by a carrier, you don't want to lose 10k, or you lose 10k and you don't want to die, even worse, and you're forced to smoke up in the middle of nowhere, and there goes one of your smoke screens. What do? If you stay in the smoke screen, you're absolutely useless for the next couple of minutes. But if you leave, the carrier is going to kill you. See, this is the problem that the gearing currently has. Even though it's one of the best all-around destroyers, it has a huge problem with that, just like all the other destroyers have. Yueyang, or not just Yueyang, Pan-Asian destroyers and British destroyers really shine here. Like, their AA is not that great. They don't have defensive AA. Pan-Asian destroyers have only deep water torps. British have lower amount of torps, lower range. They don't do that much damage and stuff like that. But in the current meta, where there's a lot of radars and planes, to drop a smoke and be able to leave that smoke with no remorse, because you know you will have a new one soon, is really a good feature. So while I was basically showing you this replay, is like, Yueyang can still be useful. It's not a bad destroyer. It's worse than it used to be, yes, a lot, because it's no longer not a really good gunboat. It's solid, but not really good, especially after we have Kitakazes and Harugumos and Darings running around. It's simply not good enough anymore. And torpedo boat, it's not that great of a torpedo boat, but these torps still are fast, very concealed, and have pretty damn good range. And they hit like a truck. Everything that's not a DD. So, yeah, I mean, it's the second best choice, I would say. Anyway, the second game after this is, I believe, going to be a Jean Bart game. This is the last of those 5 replays that I've recorded like a few weeks ago, so I really don't remember what the game is about, but I'm pretty sure it's good. And then I'm going to have to, of course, start recording more. This was all basically just an intro. There was a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Today, I went to finally visit one of my grandmas that I haven't seen in a while. So that was a bit of a interesting thing, talking to her about all the trips we had recently and how stuff and things were, and so on and so forth. I mean, my granddad is about 90 years old. She's a bit younger, so the age is starting to reach up. And she just kept repeating, "Why didn't you announce that you will be here? I would have prepared lunch, everything would have been perfect. But that's why I didn't announce it, Grandma. I didn't want you to do anything. We just came to see you and talk about it a bit. We didn't want to be here for lunch." But you know how they are. Grandparents and parents are always like, everything has to be perfect. The children is coming. No, we don't want you to kill yourself just for us. We want you to just sit back, relax, have a coffee with us like we're equals. Then after that, because we didn't have any breakfast and we insisted on not being there for any meal, we went. Well, the original plan was to go back home and have lunch, but after we left my grandma's apartment, we were like, let's just go grab a pizza somewhere or something. And Mrs. Citadel was like, I don't really feel like pizza right now. I mean, we did have a couple of pizzas not too long ago, and a few days ago when I went to lunch with my other grandma, think... No, she didn't have a pizza, but... Recently. Let's just simplify it. Recently she had it, so she wasn't too keen into it. And I was like, well, I'm not too keen on having it, but it was just... Okay, we can have anything else, whatever. So we went to one of the restaurants, and then we opened the menu. We were like looking, and she said, tuna steak. This looks nice. And I'm thinking, yeah, I actually never had a bloody tuna steak. Sure. And the way we usually like to do things when we're on a new place is we will order 2 different sets of food that we both think might be okay. And if we like one of those things only, we will split it, eat it entirely, and then we will just taste the other thing. So, you know, neither of us is going to leave the restaurant hungry. If we like both things, then we're just going to share and whatever. Doesn't matter who eats what. Or if we don't like both, then, well, fuck it. We're just gonna eat as much as you can, and then that's it, I guess. So we decided to order some squids. Now, she loves squids. She's not from the coast, and she never had them until recently, but she likes them. You can prepare them pretty poorly, and she will still like them, because they're something new to her. I'm not a huge fan of squids, or at least I wasn't before. Now, yeah, okay. I've started trying it a bit more often. But I do expect them to be made relatively good, because I am from the coast, and I had plenty of opportunities to try throughout my life on various different places, and it's just something domestic for you. You know how it has to be made. So the waiter arrives and he's like, "Squids for who?" And I immediately just point towards her, and she has a question mark above her head. Waiter, of course, has no idea. He just puts the squids next to her, tuna fish to me, and I'm looking at the steak, tuna steak, and I'm thinking like, God damn, that looks awesome. And then the waiter leaves, and she's like, "Aren't you supposed to have squids?" And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter really. We're just going to split it. So I tried the tuna steak, and that was a mistake number 1. I should have probably not tried it before squids, because squids for me were terrible. They were gummy and not that tasty. For her, they were fine. For me, they were just... But after trying the tuna steak, which was really awesome, and funnily enough, it didn't even feel like I was eating fish at the beginning. I was like, oh man. Then I tried the squids, and I was like, ah. And then she just kept whining, "I ordered the tuna steak." I was like, it's fine. You will have more than half of this. I'll just start with it, and then we can trade. And then I really didn't eat even the half. It was a huge, fat, juicy tuna steak. I had less than half, and there was some vegetables with it, which half of them I didn't even really like, but I ate like half of that maybe. But then she was like,
I don't want to trade now. I don't want to mix it.
I was like, come on, dude, please, just have this and give me that thing. So in the end, I ate half of the tuna steak and half of the vegetables. She ate her meal, which was, we call it pura. I'm really not sure how you call that. Pretty sure someone in let me just see if I can really quickly Google Translate. Polenta? Maybe like this? No. It's yellow thing that looks like it's made of potatoes and usually goes with some meat sauce and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm pretty sure someone will correct me in the comments below. So she had that with some salad and those squids, and she stuffed. It was fun, but she was like, "I wanted a tuna steak." It's pretty funny. And then we had a beer, and then we decided we're just gonna call an Uber and go home, because the car is right now not usable for maybe a week or so, because of the registration and everything. And we went walking all the way from the place we live to the town, And then I was like, oh man, I'm so not going to be in the mood for walking back. And this was even before we knew that we were actually going to have lunch. Because the original plan was we're going back home. And that's what we're going to have lunch. So we just decided to call an Uber, get home, and then we were like, oh, like a dead fish. And then I sat behind a PC and I was like, okay, I gotta start doing these things. I have a whole bunch of spreadsheets I need to complete for a bunch of test ships and stuff for wargaming as a CC. I hate that. I cannot begin to describe you how much I hate administration work. Like, papers. I hate dealing with papers. It's pretty funny. I really do. But yeah, it's part of the thing you have to do. And I have a lot of these things to do. But then it's a good thing because if I get some of these things, there might be... Well, we kind of need to do it if we want to continue testing anyway. Speaking of which... speaking of ships, 30th of May is coming up, I think next Thursday. Let me just double check real quickly. 30th of May, yes, next Thursday. It is going to be my 2 years of, well, I don't know, can you call it really full-time streaming? Because on 30th of May, I decided 2 years ago, god damn, it's been 2 years, dudes. I decided from today, well, I decided a day or two early, of course, but basically it was like from tomorrow or today, if it's 30th of May, I will start streaming every day. No matter what, no matter how people watch, no matter how successful I am, I will start the stream and I will stream at least 4 hours every day. Every day. No pauses, no breaks. Well, vacations and stuff, it's not like I could afford it back then, but it's like, I'm gonna start this. I need to know. I need to know. I just really need to know. Can I do this? Can I be a streamer? Can this be my job? Do I have a chance here? And I started. And that was 2 years ago. And time flew really, really fast. And as fast as it flew, in the same time, it feels like such a huge and amazing journey. So much has happened in these 2 years. It's bloody insane. It's absolutely insane, and it's been a huge privilege and luck and fortune and happiness and hype, and I really don't know how to explain it, to be able to do this for you people. It's just, I don't know, I'm just a regular guy for me, you know. Just like you are for yourself. And to accomplish something like this, well, I won't talk about others, but I'll just say about myself. It makes me proud about my accomplishment. And I'm really, really happy to be doing this because it's the best job I ever had. And the best job I will probably ever have. It's really been an amazing journey. We had ups and downs. We had really good and really shitty days. And a lot of you have sticked with me through pretty much everything. I know a lot of people come and go. And there were some huge fans that were just, after a while, decided that this is no longer a place for them. And they were people who were not really keen on being here to begin with, and then eventually fell in love. And yeah, and regardless of who you are and which group you belong, I just want to use this opportunity to say thank you so much. You have changed my life forever. And I really do hope that in one small part I can, well, I don't know if I can change, probably can't, but at least positively influence your lives. I do realize that in the past couple of months I've been more salty than usual. I don't know. Stopped doing few things, started doing few other things, but that's just part of the journey, you know. There's ups and downs, there's good moods, there's bad moods. Sometimes the game is in an amazing state, sometimes it's in a really bad state, you know, individually looking. Sometimes you will have more fun, sometimes less. You'll be doing crazy things, you'll be doing bad things. I think it's all part of the experience and the journey. But I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for just being here. And it makes me really happy and really proud to see comments like, "Hey, Flumbus, wow, I have my coffee and I have my croissant and my 12-year-old daughter is sitting in my lap and we're both watching your, I don't know, Fun Speed Hunts or just random episode of pretty much anything." And it's like, you make my day. It's what a great way to start the day. It's like, it makes me feel so awesome. It's like, thank you so much. Whether you are 5-year-old or 75-year-old, whether you're from United States all the way to Australia and anywhere in between, and I meant looking at a map, not at the globe, so we don't skip the rest of the world. I really want to thank you so much for this, which it is. And of course, I have some sort of an allowance from Wargaming that I could use for 30,000 followers on Twitch and 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. But I decided to hold and wait till we hit 50k, and we are already at a closing in on 40k on both. So I'm guessing in few months, maybe more, we will hit 50k, and then that allowance will just get doubled. So we will have a massive giveaway when we hit 50,000 subscribers on YouTube and 50,000 followers on Twitch. Most likely going to be held on the Discord channel, which is where we can combine everything into one. So just giving you a heads up, you have the links down below. But now for 30th of May, I will see if I can maybe put in a couple of ships and a couple of... We have a bunch of codes to give away, like always. So that's definitely going to be happening. And maybe a couple of ships and stuff like that. That will be live streamed. My YouTube... I mean, I did stream maybe a couple of times before 30th of May, but that was just testing, mostly. And there are some videos on YouTube that are like 3 years old. But most of them are pretty crappy quality on my old PowerPoint presentation PC. Really low graphics and audio is not working and stuff like that. But yeah, it's basically 2 proper years of streaming and maybe a bit than 2 years less than less than 2 years on YouTube, and it's really been awesome. To link to that, you pretty much noticed that recently I've started uploading at least every Tuesday post Scriptum, which is for me today, because today is Tuesday when I'm recording this. So for you, it happened last night or yesterday afternoon, because I think as soon as I'm done with this, I'll publish one of the episodes of post Scriptum. I usually publish the tank battles because I find them really funny and really entertaining, and Monkey enjoys it, Trendless enjoys it, and I'm like, I enjoy it myself very much. But for the past couple of weeks, there wasn't really any armored server populated. Like, you can join, but there's nobody there. And at least as long as there's no people on the server doesn't show up in a regular without filters server. So recently I've been trying to see if I can gather everyone from Creed who's interested in some of the fans. If we can get people to be online in the same time on the same server. And my god, few days ago, maybe a week, there were 3 people online on the Armored Warfare server, and then 5 to 10 of us joined, and after a few hours there were 46 people online, and we were having a blast. More videos of that are coming up in the upcoming weeks, but today, or for you yesterday, I will upload one of the episodes that I had when I was playing regular Postscriptum, which is not armored only. It is the regular Postscriptum where you have regular infantry squads with logistic squads and armored squads. And I was the infantry guy. I don't know how interesting and entertaining for you is going to be. There were some pretty crazy moments from both sides, as Brit and as German. I don't recall what I was with a British. I think a medic, and as a German, I was a sniper. It's a very delicate and different type of infantry in Postscriptum, but I was like, sure. You don't really get that many opportunities to play a sniper, so you know, why not? Let me share the experience. I hope you enjoyed that as well. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Like I said, for you, it's going to be published yesterday, and it's just one episode. I think it's going to be about 40 minutes long or something like that. I really tried to cut out all the boring or not so interesting parts, but cutting these Postscriptum videos take me like half a day, almost as much time as I invest playing it. Almost that amount of time I need into making it, because you need to go through all of these moments. That's how first-person shooters are. Like every second can be something happening. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that as well. If you do enjoy it more, or at least the same or pretty close to as much as you enjoyed Armored, I could be doing more infantry incorporated with the Armored Postscriptum videos every Tuesday as well. Because I do play it when there's no Armored. Sometimes I don't even feel like playing Armored. I just go and play infantry. And this is not just a regular first-person shooter game. It's like a massive strategy coordination thingy. But you are a first-person shooter guy kind of anyway. So yeah. And to link to that, there is a game that's coming out June 6th. I almost said 1944. It is going to be as a celebration of the anniversary of June 6th, the D-Day, where Allies landed on the beaches of Normandy in France many, many years ago. They are releasing the new game, which is very similar to Postscriptum, but it looks a lot more fine-tuned, better graphics, more options, a lot better mechanics. It looks like somebody took Postscriptum and made a lot better product. Like almost tried to finish it. And it's called Hell Let Loose. I don't know if some of you have heard about it or not. If you didn't, go to the YouTube and just Google Hell Let Loose trailer, official announcement trailer release. I don't know. It's getting released soon. I'm definitely looking forward to try that. As much as I love Postscriptum, and as much as I'd love to join, and as much as I would love that, you know, a lot of people get involved, I think I'm streaming that game and more people are watching than all the people on all the servers combined are playing, which is pretty funny. I contacted, I think it's Team 17, the same dudes that made Worms, I believe, many, many years ago. I contacted them and I was like, I would be interested in taking a look at this game if you have like a pre-release or you know, pre-access or something like that. Because I'm very much into the Postscriptum and I would be very much keen into trying that out. And I think I sent that message yesterday or 2 days ago. And right as I was starting the episode of Funs with Hunts, a mail arrived. And I went to check. And they're like, well, I might as well just read it to you. Hey Flumbus, just dropping you an email to invite you to our closed beta weekend and early access launch for Hell Let Loose PC. Our epic 50 versus 50 World War II first-person shooter with giant battles of infantry, tanks, and artillery over a shifting front line. And the closed beta is going to be like a week before the release or two. And I got a code, and that is awesome. I will see what I can do about it, because there were some mentions. I really didn't go through the whole thing yet, but there were some mentions of like maybe possible giveaways for the thing, or I don't know. No promises, but I'm super keen because while the video looks like the game is a bit blurry, I'm holding my my reserves a bit, because sometimes YouTube videos just look like that. It's just the way it is, and the game looks a lot better once you get into it. But still, it looks like 5 step-ups from Postscriptum. And as huge fan as I am for Scriptum, and as much as I heard that there is updates coming, it kind of is going very slow. And if this game comes out and it's going to be really a step up, I'm all for it. I hope you are too. Check out the game. And once again, thank you all so much for watching and all the support. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for leaving the likes. Thank you for leaving the comments. And as always, have a good rest of the day, good rest of the morning, afternoon, evening, whatever. Just thank you. It's been an amazing 2 years, or soon to be, and I'm hoping for many, many more, and many more episodes of Fun Speedruns and special compilations and all that stuff. Now I gotta go, and I gotta go deal with all those papers and all those spreadsheets. So I will see you tomorrow.